Chapter 10: Why We Cling Tightly to Our False Beliefs and Limitations. As children, we choose to adopt hundreds, even thousands of beliefs. In our underdeveloped state, these choices are often irrational, erroneous, and ridiculous. We create deeply embedded, sweeping beliefs at the slightest provocation based on events that happen in one moment. These beliefs stick with us and continually damage us throughout our lives, but we are not even aware of them. It's like hiring a first-time drunken sailor to chart a navigational course around the world and then stubbornly adhering to that course even when it proves to be dangerously wrong and our ship crashes into rocks. Even worse, as rocky and dangerous as the journey is, we never think to question the map we were given. Or it's like having a board of directors in our mind who run our decision-making process. Our board is filled with members who represent our most powerful memories, which created limiting beliefs. This means that we have a bunch of discontent, angry, and sad inner children calling the shots for us as adults. For example, imagine a little girl who tries out for a school play and wins a part. But during the performance, she completely forgets her lines and feels humiliated. She adopts the belief, "I can't perform in front of others." But just because she had one embarrassing experience doesn't actually mean that she can't perform for others. All that happened was that she forgot her lines. And yet she made a huge decision that impacts how she shows up for the rest of her life based on one event. When Mariah was 9 years old, she was sexually abused by an adult whom she loved very much and whom she thought had her best interests at heart. From that devastating trauma, she developed the belief, "I can't trust." As an adult, she's now realizing how much this decision made from one experience has cost her. She explains, "I haven't ever fully trusted myself to move forward in my life. I keep a part of all my relationships closed off. I don't allow myself to be fully vulnerable, which creates disconnection. I look for outside approval. I'm not fully able to validate myself because I feel I can't trust myself. The irony is that I can't trust others fully either, so I am never able to feel validated or safe to move forward. I question when I should trust. I walk away when there is opportunity for growth. I play small. I run away and hide. I allow fear of manipulation to make my choices." As a teenager, Timothy showed interest in girls, but felt that the interest wasn't reciprocated. From these experiences, he created the belief, "I am unattractive," and decided he wasn't worth loving. Soon after that, he discovered pornography. Because of his core belief about himself, his habit of viewing pornography developed into an addiction, which plagued him for more than 20 years. He said, "It destroyed my wife's self-confidence and damaged and nearly ended our marriage several times. It took time from my life that I will never get back." How our false beliefs serve us and limit us. As the stories above illustrate, we create our false beliefs in a misguided attempt to protect ourselves from pain, distress, embarrassment, humiliation, fear, etc. The little girl who forgets her lines creates the belief, "I can't perform in front of others," because this belief will prevent her from ever performing again, thus sparing her the potential humiliation. As an adult, she may indeed avoid some humiliating moments by living according to this belief. But sadly, she will also miss out on the best opportunities that will stretch her to her full potential. By running away from embarrassment, she also runs away from fulfillment and lives a safe, though mediocre and limited life. Mariah created her belief, "I can't trust," to protect herself from being hurt like that again. She closed herself off and hid her truest, most precious self from the world. Ironically, in this attempt to protect herself, she also prevented what she wanted the most, to be seen and truly loved. Timothy created the belief, "I am unattractive," to prevent him from feeling rejected by women. In feeling unattractive, he wouldn't put himself out there or make himself vulnerable for women. All of our false beliefs serve a purpose, to protect us. And the truth is, they can actually work. They do create a protective shell, a defensive barrier around our hearts and our most authentic selves. They can save us some pain and distress. But in the process, they also prevent us from experiencing the highest levels of joy and fulfillment. They stifle our potential. They may keep us safe as we perceive, but by doing so, they also keep us small. So in truth, the safety we create from false beliefs is a prison cell we build around ourselves. By keeping people out and preventing them from hurting us, we also keep ourselves locked inside. By protecting ourselves from the pain we don't want, we shut out the love, joy, and abundance that we want the most. Limiting beliefs often serve us for a specific period of time, but not if they have a default setting of staying indefinitely and never getting reviewed. Our limitations as adults were created by the false beliefs we chose as children. As adults, we accept and even cling to our limitations because they keep us safe and protected. This is why belief breakthrough work requires a willingness to change. Until people are willing to change, they fight fiercely for their limitations. They can give you every logical reason why they believe what they do. They give excuse after excuse after excuse to explain why they're not living the life they want. They do anything and everything, but allow themselves to open up to the risk of being hurt again. This is completely understandable, and I have deep compassion for it. I say this not as a criticism, but simply to help you understand what goes on in your mind so that you can break free from your conditioned patterns. As author Elizabeth Gilbert wrote, "Argue for your limitations and you get to keep them." When the consequences of living small, hidden, and protected become too painful, you'll open yourself to risk, hope, and possibility. As poet Elizabeth Appel wrote, "And the day came when the risk to remain closed in a bud became more painful than the risk it took to blossom." Take responsibility to transcend victimhood. In victim mode, we blame other people for why our life isn't better. Is there someone you can think of to blame for your life? If so, you may be stuck in victimhood. This is not a judgment, but simply a tool to recognize an area where you may be stuck. Staying in victim mode justifies our poor behavior and poor results. It means we don't have to own that we are the creators of our story. To experience powerful change, combine passion with responsibility. Notice carefully how you feel when I use the word responsibility. How do you feel about that word? Most people feel blame, shame, and pain towards that word. We cringe at hearing, "It's your responsibility," because what we really hear is, "It's your fault." I invite you to change your orientation around responsibility. Taking responsibility is about empowering ourselves to change things in our life. Until we accept responsibility, we have no power to change anything because we have no power over our circumstances. If we didn't cause something, then we can't fix it. When you break the word down, all it means is responsibility, the ability to respond. Responsibility is your ability to choose your actions and reactions. It is your ability to choose how you spend your time and energy. It is your ability to create different outcomes. It's not about being blamed for your life. It's about waking up from the slumber of irresponsibility and saying, "I have the ability to change anything I want." It's an empowering word, not a blaming or shameful word. Responsibility, when properly understood, is one of the most exciting, powerful, and joyful principles we have to create our ideal lives. The people who take the least responsibility for their circumstances and results have the least power and ability to improve them. Likewise, those who take the most responsibility have the greatest power and ability to improve their circumstances and results. We often interact with other people and experience something that triggers us. Maybe we don't like how they treat us, or they make a decision we disagree with. Whatever the circumstance, ultimate responsibility means recognizing that the person with the reaction is the one with the problem. But the person with the problem also has the solution. True responsibility is taking accountability for your thoughts, emotions, and triggers. If an interaction with someone produces a problem within you, then the first step is seeing that it's your problem, not theirs, and letting go of your belief that they need to change in order for you to feel resolved. You can only change yourself. Resolve the limiting belief in yourself, and then regardless of whether the other person changes, you get the benefit of returning to peace and empowerment. Accept the unalterable reality that you and only you are responsible for the results you're getting. You are the common denominator in any circumstances that don't go your way. It's not your parents. It's not the people who have wounded you throughout your life. It's not your boss. It's not your spouse. It's you. You can't change anything that has happened to you, but you can change how you respond. The beliefs you've created as defense mechanisms in response to wounds don't serve you. They limit you. Yes, you've been hurt. Yes, you've suffered. And you can grieve all those wounds and hold them in compassion while also taking responsibility for your life. Here are some selected quotes on the topic discussed in this chapter. If you are pained by external things, it is not that they disturb you, but your own judgment of them, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. Marcus Aurelius. Most of what you fear does not even exist. Much of what you love is closer than you realize. Steve D'Annunzio. The moment you take responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you can change anything in your life. Hal Elrod. The best years of your life are the ones in which you decide your problems are your own. You do not blame them on your mother, the ecology, or the president. You realize that you control your own destiny. Albert Ellis.